there. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. And coming soon, I'll be launching my membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. So welcome to episode 81. So it's kind of funny to me, and y'all can't see me. One of these days I'll take my producer's offer of recording this as a video up. I'll take him up on that, but so far not yet. As evidence of my continued re-entry and recombobulating, I am reading this off of my phone because my iPad is at home. Because one of my sons moved home in May and another of my sons moved home yesterday. And they will both be with us until the beginning of August. And so I had to move out of my office. I'm nowhere near my iPad, still recombobulating, my friends. So even the professional organizer, or maybe especially the professional organizer. And I guess that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So I wrote a new article called Re-Entry After Travel, Bumps in the Road. And you guys will be the first ones to hear it. It's not even published yet. It will be by the time, obviously, this podcast episode drops. But yeah, it's all news to a lot of people. So I know that I have spoken about the importance of a planned re-entry after a vacation or adventure. And I was reminded recently of just how important a planned re-entry is. So let's call this one Re-Entry 2.0. Things to do your first 24 hours home. We traveled the last week of May for a family wedding in Baltimore. In the interest of getting the Midwest grandparents, there are 4 of them, to the East Coast wedding, last fall, we rented a 15-passenger van for the event. This was my husband's idea, and it was brilliant. He and I took turns driving on the 11-ish hour trip to and from Baltimore from Kalamazoo. Seriously, he is brilliant. He even downloaded to his phone the top 100 songs from 1963 as a road trip soundtrack. Our passengers were happy. So if you're reading this article as opposed to listening to it, you can check it out on my blog. There's actually a photo of the bus, not school bus. I'm calling it a bus, not school bus, because that is the category type listed for it on the Safety Compliance Certification label, aka the Door Jam label. So that just made us laugh for the whole weekend because it's a bus, not school bus. So the wedding was beautiful. The reception was great. I am so happy for my niece and my new nephew. They are delightful people who deserve every good thing in life. I love the rest of my family too. There were good times and great memories made. For the most part, every bit of planning yielded the expected and desired results. There were lots of laughs, some euchre, if you know, you know, lots of food, adventures, ice cream, hiking, hanging out, and of course, the wedding. And there were a few snags. I will not go into details, at least not yet. I'm not ready to write about it yet. But I will say that everyone is fine and now home. However, after 2 ambulance rides and ER visits, in 2 different ERs, I might add, the Courtyard by Marriott, Baltimore BWI, may never let our family stay there again. Ever. And I don't really even blame them for that. So, obviously, there were some uncertainties, shall we say, as we returned, and some concern that One or more of us may have to adjust our travels or even travel back to Baltimore. And because of all the extra unexpected pieces, being intentional about re-entry was more important than ever. So here are some suggestions from my experiences to you to help you tackle re-entry and also set yourself up to succeed and even to travel again. First up, unpack the car. All the way. Yes, all the way. This is our usual practice, but it became necessary and no longer optional, I suppose, because we had to return the bus not school bus to the rental company. Everything had to come out of the bus. All the rubbish was disposed of, all the luggage, etc. If this was our car that came back from this road trip, we might also take the car to the car wash and give it a vacuum. Just a thought. Next up, unpack the bags. All of them. Yes, all of them. I know you've heard me talk about this before, but I can't say it enough. You don't want to wait and find a neglected apple or granola bar wrapper in your hiking backpack a few weeks down the road. Ew. Or dirty clothes or dirty shoes, etc. Just unpack the bags. I was reminded of how important this step is when I found my mom's handicap parking hang tag in one of our bags. Did I mention my family lives in Michigan and I live in Chicago? Yeah. Thankfully, I found the hang tag right away the evening we arrived home, and it was out via UPS overnight delivery first thing the next morning. Multiple loads of laundry were started and completing, and the dressier items like suits and dresses were taken to the dry cleaner. So again, all of this within the first 24 hours. Next up, once they're empty, put the bags away. Yes, away. All the bags. You could argue that if I was worried that I might have to travel again for an emergency, perhaps it would make sense to leave a suitcase out. And as an organizer, I will say, unless you know you have a trip planned, it never makes sense to leave a suitcase out. Working with so many clients over the years, very often I will walk into a closet or bedroom or basement storage space or garage, and one of the first things we do to make improvements is to put away the luggage that never quite made it back to its storage space. This is such an obvious solution. Take the few extra minutes and put the bags away. Next up are your toiletries. Refill, repack, and order extras. I know I've spoken about this step before in podcasts last spring and summer. It was even more important this week, though, that I refilled and repacked my supplies in case I need to travel again soon. Next up, recharge your stuff. So I have a power bank that lives in my travel tech bag, and I used it on our Baltimore adventure. Not knowing what this week might bring, I made sure to recharge it right away. I also charged my portable keyboard for my iPad for the same reason. My daily habit, traveling or not, is to recharge my phone, AirPods, Apple Watch, and iPad at night. So those were good to go whenever. One thing we also did in the first 24 hours we were home is we bought groceries. We needed to restock a lot of items when we got back from our adventure, and I knew that was going to be a necessity even before we left. We had planned for that. I didn't want to leave a whole bunch of food in my fridge, while we're gone, just to spoil. So I knew that we would need groceries. So I had planned a trip to Costco for our first day back, and I also let Costco do the cooking this week. I am looking at you, rotisserie chicken, stuffed peppers, and baked chicken Alfredo. Yeah, I didn't bake anything from scratch, and that's okay. So later that day after the Costco trip, I placed the Jewel grocery order for all the stuff I didn't buy at Costco, and so within 24 hours of arriving home, the cabinets and fridge were back to normal levels. So this next step is where the re-entry 2.0 comes in. We were gone for 6 days, and it was awesome. As I described in a text today, weekend was mostly amazing with just a few snags. I can unpack, I can repack, I can restock, I can recharge actual batteries, but I also need to recharge metaphorical batteries. With the few snags that we were having, I actually asked for flexibility and grace via email and texts when people needed something from me the week we got back. I don't usually feel the need to explain myself or excuse a delay, but this week was not a typical week for lots of reasons. I restocked groceries and I purchased prepared foods, and I didn't expect myself or anyone else to cook. I slept. Oh, I was very tired. At writing time of this article and this podcast content, I still am. These last few days, though, I gave up trying to stay up when my brain and body had said enough. I also recommitted to most of my healthy habits, staying hydrated, returning to exercise, making healthier food options, etc. And I set myself up to succeed in case I got called out of town again. Next up, I just need to tackle the rest of the to-do list, but that is another episode for another day. Support around getting things done before, during, and after adventures, and all the other days too, is what productivity coaching is all about. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through any of my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you next week.